Yeah, so the Bexar County School Board Coalition consists of all the 20 independent school districts in the San Antonio area. So our role is to engage and work with all the different students from a trustee sense. So we have the oversight of our districts, and then we also collaborate together. So we're the ones that are really trying to make an impact and really watching those numbers and how we can help out with the students within the community.
What we want to be able to do is make sure that we take care of the whole child. What we're realizing now coming out of this pandemic is that there's so many needs for our children and for our families. It's the entire family that we take care of. So I want to make sure that we're providing the resources in mental health, and health wellness, and making sure that we're supporting the entire child and their family with all the resources that they need, counseling services, really helping them transition back to coming to school in person. And that means a lot of things: how to relearn how to socialize, how to help them adapt, communication skills, and of course discipline has been one of them. So one of the great things that we've been able to do is have restorative justice in our schools, and we see the benefit of that.
We know, one, that a post-high school credential is going to change the life of any individual, and we see that in the lives of our 65,000 students currently. We work with lots of partners to ensure that they have, that their students are future ready, and we'll pursue that pathway.
Members of Future Ready Bexar County, I have the honor of representing not just the San Antonio Spurs, but Corporate Partners for Racial Equity, which is a group of 12 companies and 12 CEOs here in San Antonio who have committed to ensuring that we can, over the next 5 years and with $13.8 million, invest in equitable education, economic opportunity, and safety and justice. And we're deeply aligned to Future Ready Bexar County because we believe that healing, access, and voice toward equity are part of how we show up. So Future Ready Bexar County provides a template, a framework, and a shared language for all of us to commit to what we believe is most necessary to ensure that young people get what they need to be stronger, better, bolder, braver, and the future leaders of the county and of the world.
I think all partnerships are important, and I think that this is especially important because it helps to bridge the gap between the lack of resources that we currently have.
Collaborating together, and so we can sort of make sure that we're not duplicating things. We can also see, hey, what's the best way that we can really achieve our purposes and not only consolidate our resources, but leverage what we have with each other, as well as to really help out the students in that particular regard. I think the other critical aspect to it, it shows a willingness that we can set a high mark for the goals that we have and align everybody so we can achieve those goals that we need to be successful within the community.
I think after the last 2 years of the COVID pandemic, it's really important for us to provide grace and space to individuals, and in particular for our youth who were even more adversely impacted. So healing, both to recognize the need to trust and reconnect, right? Space, to give everybody the space to be able to do so. And voice, to be able to articulate and understand the needs that youth have championed, and also to be able to provide a better future. So voice is critical to being able to move forward and for us championing a Future Ready Bexar County.
The healing access and voice is extremely important to our young people in Bexar County for several reasons. First, let me just start out with even the process for us to determine that was extremely critical. I think the process shows that we were willing to learn from each other, and as opposed to in the past, we look at certain data elements and other things, and we sort of said, well, wait a minute, let's sit back. What's really extremely critical for us to ensure that our students are very successful? And these are new categories, the categories that had sort of been lightly around before, but we really hadn't really drilled into them. I think that's one important aspect, is the process for us to identify what's extremely important. I think the other thing is we've always sort of believed that well-rounded students are the key. And I thought that a lot of times people would just think of that in terms of academics. When you think about what we're talking about here, healing and access and other things. Now we're including things like social and emotional aspects. We're even beyond the academics part of it, even extracurricular part, where we're including the physical, the emotional, the mental aspects of the students, and saying all that is critical for our students to be successful. So that's why I like those, the theme and the slogan that we have this year.
I think it's important because we need to help our students and giving them a voice, giving them the resources, giving them the tools that they need, it's critical to their success. And I would say that that's making sure that we have all those components aligned, working together, and what I call a bridge to make sure that our students are successful.
Access and voice are critical components of what young people need and deserve, and are commitments that all of us as corporate partners must make to ensure that young people get what they need to be successful. We also believe in them. We believe in healing, access, and voice toward equity, because that's the framework that all of us can align on to ensure that we're doing our part to get young people what they need. That means that it's not just on school districts, it's not just on higher education institutions, it's not just on individual families, it's not just on members of government, and it's not just on corporations. It's actually a commitment that all of us make together to ensure that young people have access to, have commitments from, and have a future that is aligned to healing.